It's a blockbuster at the box office. Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, detailing the nuclear arms race during World War II, recreating the test scene in Los Alamos, New Mexico.
A series of civil defense tests were made to discover the effects of atomic heat on American homes.
But what the movie didn't show is the unintended consequences the testing had on its own people. Radiation pushing downwind, causing cancer for countless Americans who are now known as Downwinders.
It has been a never-ending stream of people getting cancer and dying ever since then.
Victims of the testing were formally recognized and compensated by the government in the early 90s with the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, or RECA. But certain areas, like Mohave County, weren't included in the bill.
I think they're just waiting for us to all get elderly and die off and go away.
Downwinder Gene Bishop's husband, Dan, who we first introduced you to in 2021, died shortly before our story aired that year. The 84-year-old lived in Mohave County his whole life, battled cancer for years after watching mushroom clouds as a teenager.
I remember him with a smile. Honorable law enforcement officer. He had a history of ranching and his pioneer family. Just amazing.
We showed you Eddie Patillo, the third-generation Kinman resident who fought cancer for nearly 30 years. Patillo recalled the testing too. He died last April. His son Cullen remembers him as a man who lived with dignity.
At the times, it was somewhat inspirational because he never let it get him down. His philosophy in life was, I can't do anything about me having cancer except doing exactly what the doctors tell me to do, and that's what he did, and he went on and he lived his life.
Even though they suffered from cancer for decades, after witnessing nuclear blasts from Kinman, Eddie and Dan were never formally recognized as Downwinders.
It's a mere acknowledgement that, hey, you've been wronged, and we apologize.
After years of failed legislation, forgotten Downwinders may finally have something to celebrate, with Missouri Senator Josh Hawley passing an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act, expanding RECA benefits far and wide, including Mohave County.
And by suffered, I mean gotten sick and had family members die.
Their struggle is not a studio-produced movie, but the decades-long plot of the forgotten Downwinders story may have finally reached its climax.
It's never too little too late. I mean, we've lost a lot of friends and family, and we want the government to love us, right?
And for so many of these people that I talked to, they're not quite sure what moving forward looks like after all of these years fighting, not only for that compensation, but also recognition. Of course, we'll keep you updated if that bill passes here and on our AZ Family News app. In Keeneman, I'm David Coltobiano for Arizona's Family.